Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, let me welcome you to a panel discussion between my esteemed colleagues, Prof. Riri from the University of Indonesia and Prof. Yese Weltevrede from Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences, in discussing the role of generative AI in transforming the workforce, the job market, and of course, the education process to prepare our future generation. Generative AI has struck the world by storm. Many tasks, such as creation of images, text, and sound, can now be taken over by various generative AI tools. As a consequence, we can automate the creation of personalized emails, marketing campaigns, text, images, and even creating job applications using generative AI. Not only in the industrial context, in education, we have seen the power of generative AI as our students began to use tools such as ChatGPT to write their homework and project report. Some lecturers even have used generative AI to help making their lecture slides. At the moment, generative AI is valued at 10.6 billion US dollars and expected to grow to 151.9 billion in 2030. This is a rapid growth for a relatively new tool. Looking at this growth, both our countries, the Netherlands and Indonesia, have put generative AI or AI in general as one of its strategic research agenda. In the Netherlands, where I live, is also placing AI as one of Dutch science agenda. And I am honored to be part of a consortium financed by the NWO, our Dutch research organization, to explore the development of conversational agent based on AI for Dutch language. Also in Indonesia, BRAIN is active in the research of AI, and most recently, Indonesia also held its fourth AI Innovation Summit, exploring the use of AI in digital government, financial industry, agriculture, and also even in defense. Today, we will hear more about generative AI from Dutch and Indonesian point of view, with a goal of seeking common grounds for potential rooms for collaboration between our two great countries in the field of Gen AI. From Indonesia, we have Professor Riri Fitrisari. She is a professor of computer engineering at the University of Indonesia in the field of electrical engineering in the Faculty of Engineering in UI. She was also the CIO or Head of Information System Development and Services of the university from 2006 to 2014. From the Dutch side, we have Professor Jesse Walterveden, Professor of Online Retail at Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences. He is also the director and the founder of Center for Market Insight at the School of Marketing at the university. He is actively conducting research in the application of AI data analytics in digital driven business. We will start this panel discussion by hearing statement from each panelist. Each panelist will have 15 minutes to present their ideas. During this time, please feel free to post questions in the chat. And after both panelists have finished their talk, we will have a 15 minutes discussion with the audience answering your questions. And these questions, please post them during the talk of each panelist. And now I will invite Professor Riri to present her point of view about generative AI and the impact of Gen AI on the workforce, the education from the Indonesian perspective. The stage is yours, Prof. Riri.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Professor Walter Freyden, Dr. Hesse, and Dr. Frederick Sitomea, and all friends, participants of Winner 2023. I'm very honored to be able to speak in front of you regarding navigating opportunities and challenges of generative AI in education. And since November last year, we've been gone through very challenging time in which we found out that ChatGPT, one of the large language model available in the market now, in the industry, is here with us, and it's really changing the landscape of education all over the world, including Indonesia. So if you want to show my slide, that's fine, please. Also, I find out that next slide. I'm going to talk about ChatGPT in Indonesia and how generative AI will continue to be with us, and what we can do regarding collaboration that we can do in the era of artificial intelligence. Next, please. So, next, please. Right. Next. Right. We are now in the hype of generative artificial intelligence in education. And this diagram really shows that it's on the top. And we know that there are a lot of challenging uh, time in which in education, educators all over the world know that there are global access to the tools. If we are in the condition in which it's just very similar to the time when we start using calculator, but now we can access it, and then we have to know and have to be able to identify which one is generated by AI or generated by someone, or what is his or her contribution to something that he submitted. So it's really in the condition in which we would like to use the technology, but also knowing that we have to survive without the technology. We have to find a way, and there are different way of using it and learn about it and use it wisely. There are in differentiation, and we have a different way of individualizing the way we learn. For example, we all over the world, just like in my university or university all over the world in Indonesia, for example, the way we evaluate student is very different now. We're supposed to go back to the time in which we do examination with papers, sometimes even with the testing with for programming, because everything is there, and what we would like to evaluate is something that we have to identify, and what can retain as the resources that can be used by the students eventually is really in the future for them to survive. It's really important. And also, we know that in education, it can be used for administration activities, the automation of that. And also, we can also use it for effective engagement. We know that there are a lot of derivatives from the use of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT that has been connected with the API and being used by everyone to produce their product, and also filling a gap between learning and teaching. Next. Next slide. Yeah. So there are challenges and concern for generative AI in education. For example, a lot of students know that ChatGPT sometimes hallucinating, so it produces for example, references that is never exist, and there are some the accuracy of the content also is not very deep, and we can identify that is created by AI. And also ethical consideration about what and do and don'ts that we have to explore, and we have to tell many people and many students, for example. Also accessibility and inclusivity, and also the teacher and student interaction. Some students even ask how to use it wisely, and many teachers have to learn and catch up about that. And also, we know that there are digital divide, because now we are with ChatGPT 4, and the one that is open is ChatGPT 3.5. But last week, um, Bart, Google Bart already put the large language model into the search engine also, which helps everyone. But we know that the uh, approach they're used to uh, produce the result is something that is still ongoing on current development. And also we have to, you know, that many teachers also use it to be able to dwell more on what they can do for the students. there are some problem with also with algorithm transparency, whether everything that we provide and we share with the chat gpt will be used against us, for example, in the future, or whatever. And also concerning about data privacy, security risk, cost and infrastructure, and how we can evaluate the effectiveness of the learning mechanism. And also we have to see about the long-term viability of what and how we can survive to be able to adapt more on what can be contributed by someone, knowing that there are so many things that can be help and can be done by ChatGPT or other large language model or other generative AI. And also the problem of equity and bias mitigation. Next slide, please. Right. And we come up to the problem of ethics and artificial intelligence. Now we talk about data responsibility and privacy, fairness about that, explainability, robustness, transparency, problems such as environmental sustainability, inclusion, moral values are things that we have to look into. Next. Next. I'm going to talk about generative AI, in which we know that there are many models currently available. Many people are trying to make their own. Many countries are try to do that also at the same time, and we will see who will survive. But we know that artificial intelligence will reshape our workplace and employee experience in doing their work. So we're supposed to be able to use it now. The quicker is the better to enhance the products and services that we do. The quicker is the better. Designing experience for the user, how imagination is very important now. Is one of the most important intelligence that we have to dwell from everybody. Previously, it's only um, algorithmic intelligence that's very important, and literacy. But now the imaginative intelligence is very important. And also we have to create and use unique knowledge to be able to be unique. And also in communicating, in collaborating, making better decision, faster decision, and how we can optimize business operation, business administration is something that we can help strategically and tactically to be able to contribute to our economical development also, and also our nation building at large. Next. So, reskilling and upskilling in the age of AI is very important in education. Reskilling meaning that we need continuous learning, digital literacy, adaptive skill test sets, artificial intelligence ethics. So there are many responsibility that we have to learn about this, and also initiatives to be able to put everyone into the right direction. And also upskilling for those AI skill development, collaboration with artificial intelligence on online learning platforms and other things. Next, please. So I've talked about this equity and access. Teachers training is really necessary because it's just very new and everyone have to get used to it, and also should be able to identify what the students can do. Providing personalized learning experience, simplifying grading and assessment, creating engaging learning materials, and other things. Next, please. Also, we need to protect privacy and data security with a lot of approach in cybersecurity with data encryption, secure authentication, access control, anonymization of data, and also technology such as blockchain that enables immutability, and also other approach authentication, and things that will lead to a more transparent mechanism will be provided in the future. And also we need to have a privacy policies and compliant with ethical artificial guidelines, which is currently on the making all over the world. And we need also to have user consent on whatever they have at the moment, because at the same time now, for example, if someone would like to check something, they will upload it, and how that information will be used, it should be transparent to everyone also. Next. Collaboration with artificial intelligence in the future, and also meaning that collaboration among us to be able to survive as a human being, as a humanity must survive to the future. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit. Next, please. In which we need to have a clear task allocation. We need to have a human oversight, which maintain oversight to make critical decision and provide context to information, and also feedback loops, whether we implement feedback mechanism for humans and AI to learn from each other, and also ethical guidelines, establish and follow ethical guidelines, and adaptability that we need for everyone to be able to adapt to the ever evolving condition in the world. Next, please. Yeah, there are some risks that I already mentioned in the past, in the previous part, which is skill redundancy, depersonalization of things. We have to have so many things to learn, learning overload, and okay, I think next, please. Next. Yeah, okay. When we are talking about the future, we'll have to think about so many things that should be considered in artificial intelligence and machine learning, how we approach that for our scientific method, and other things. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah, collaboration to provide joint curriculum development, technology and industry partnership. So we need to have also training and reskilling for many people. Lifelong learning initiatives is very important, and also a mentorship program. Next, please. Yeah, next, please. Also, there are many publication already conducted and available all over the world now on exploring the impacts of AI on the future of teaching and learning. And we know that we see that in our environment, in our place everywhere, in Netherlands and also in Indonesia. I'm sure that all the students also already know what is yes and no. For example, the lecture, when they get the answer, they directly know that this is not from the student, that this is only very swallow, very shallow, I mean. And we need to have a more deeper evaluation, for example, for something, for information that is provided. So examination will be different now, knowing that we have a lot of things to do for upskilling and reskilling people, knowing that we have to be superior rather than the machine that is currently learning. So we have to have the way to ensure that humanity will be survive in the future. So I think that is from me. We have to empower humanity, and also we have to have a collaboration in development and use of generative AI. That is why we meet today, and I'm so happy to talk together to discuss this with you today. Thank you very much. Back to you, Pasito Mayang.
Thank you very much, Professor Riri. We talk about how AI can really impact the way we prepare the students moving forward. Of course, definitely we need upskilling and reskilling and change how we educate our future generations. But before we go to the discussion, I would like now to invite Jesse to provide some insights from the Dutch perspective.
Thank you so much, Frederick, and also thank you, Professor Riri, for your wonderful presentation. I think you really already said a lot of what's going on with your generative AI, and also what's happening in Indonesia, but also all over the world. The same is happening in the Netherlands. And yes, I think we were all surprised as educators when with the speed of Gen AI. It really hit us by surprise. And of course, it has a huge potential for business as well as education. But at the same time, yeah, we're still in a sort of learning phase and also sort of phase where people are a little bit ignorant about what it will imply for their work or their future work. And I also see, I don't know if that's the case in Indonesia as well, but I see, at least in education, also a lot of defensive stance among educators, that they see it as a big threat, that they are not willing to really embrace it. And I think that mentality really needs to change because it's here to stay. We cannot ignore it. And it will be an important part of your future work and your current work. So from that perspective, we really need to educate students how to use it in the best way.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, sir. But what kind of changes has been made in the Netherlands? Uh, let's say in our own institutions, for example, to prepare our future generations.
Yeah, but what I already said is first I see a lot of defensive responses. Okay,
Mm,
how will this impact the way we teach students and also how we grade students and how to
mm,
ensure that their work is still their own work. And there's also a ban on using generative AI in certain courses. And I think that's just the first initial response from people not already used of using Gen AI and also seeing its full channel potential. So I think we need to move forward away from that defensive stance. But of
mm,
course, what we need to do is really discuss how this impacts future job roles and also the way we teach. That will fundamentally change and also has some big risks, as Professor Reary also already noticed. I mean, access to knowledge becomes more and more easy. It was already easy with the introduction of the internet, but now with Gen AI, we move even a bigger step further. I mean, with a simple question, you can know everything about every subject you ever dreamt of knowing something about, which is, of course, very helpful. But on the other hand, when people are gathering knowledge about topics they're not familiar with and using that in certain situations also poses a huge risk of people becoming lazy and not really able to make a difference between what is valuable information and what is not valuable information. So the more accessible information is, the more important it is that you also are able to ask the right questions, write the right prompts, but also you should be able to evaluate what the value is of the information you get through generative AI. And that's an important quality that we really fast need to teach our students, I would say.
Can you be a little bit more concrete with these qualities? Because Professor really talked about reskilling and upskilling our future generations. So, with the changing of the job landscape due to AI, what kind of skills that individuals and organizations should employ or should have to ensure that there is this balance between the workers and AI, and our future generations will be
Yeah.
equipped with the necessary skills for the future.
Yeah, there's a saying that AI will not replace jobs, but it will replace
Mm.
your job will be replaced by people that use generative AI.
Hmm.
I think that's largely true, not entirely, because there are industries where certain jobs can be replaced by generative AI. Take, for example, customer service
Mm-hmm.
or certain content creation jobs. I think we need less people for that. For example, in customer service, maybe 90% of the questions that people ask to a customer service center are standard questions.
Yep.
And since they are standard, also a machine can answer them maybe even better than humans. And we also saw examples, even in more complex situations, where AI can better explain to a patient what is going on than a doctor in a more empathic and a more informed
Really?
way. So that also raises some questions about, of course, how we execute our job roles.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back to clear skills, as I said, the danger is that people think, okay, I don't need to know anything anymore because the knowledge is there and I can just
Exactly.
ask for it. But that's, I think, that's wrong, and that's a big danger, because to ensure that the information that generative AI is given, to ensure that it's correct, you need to know uh, uh, a lot more about the topic. So it's a help, but it's not a replacement for knowledge. So I think people that have knowledge on a certain topic can really um, use generative AI to make their work more efficient and more productive.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to be able to understand and also value the outcome that the generative AI is producing. Also, if you have knowledge on a certain topic, for example, when you're a programmer and you know a lot about coding, um, of course, you can ask Gen AI to build a beautiful code, but you also need to give the right instruction, so that Gen AI will produce the right code. And then you need to be able to check it. So being able to formulate the right question and also being able to evaluate the response that you get from generative AI is very important.
So prompt engineering.
Yeah, so that
Yep.
requires knowledge about topics, also requires creativity,
Mm-hmm.
um, to see how you can use AI to support your job. So these will become, these are already very important skills, but they will become even more important now we have generative AI, I would say.
And yeah, you spoke about students needs to understand what they prompted to Gen AI, and prompt engineering is very important. Creativity is important, and their understanding on the subject matter is very important. But in the reality nowadays, whether we don't like it or we like it, a lot of students rely more and more on generative AI in preparing their work, in preparing their report. So, what do you think needs to be changed in our educational process to make sure that, well, what you have just said, that the student remain creative, but also at the same time understand that they're doing what they're doing, but then use Gen AI as like a calculator to speed up the process of what they're doing. So, what needs to be changed here?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. I think what needs to be changed. Well, first of all, I think still a lot of students are not using generative AI or not using it properly. To be honest,
Mhm,
there are of course some smart students that really find their way and really use it to their benefit. But also there are a lot of students that are not using it in a proper way, I would say. So they need to learn more about using it in a proper way,
mhm, mhm,
like lecturers as well.
mhm,
We also see this differentiation, but I think it's still, for the Netherlands, when I look to my institute and also others, it's still a minority of the students, lecturers that really use Gen AI in an effective way,
mhm,
producing quality outputs, really helping them to become more productive and
mhm,
effective. So we also still need to learn, both our educators as well as our students, the basics of using generative AI tools. So that's one thing. Other thing is that, well, there is also a sort of blind focus on a handful of big tools. So everybody is talking about ChatGPT, but we know that there are thousands, maybe 10,000 of generative AI tools for all kinds of purposes out there at the moment, which are not known or are not used by our students or educators or professionals. So I think we also need to dive more into the landscape and also specialist tools that are targeted towards certain job functions that are not yet on the radar of both educators and students. So that is important. And coming back to more the core of your question, what needs to be changed? I think we're now very focused on evaluating the output of work of students instead of the
Mm.
process. And I think that needs to be changed. So when we grade students and evaluate the quality of their work, we need to take more into consideration their process of generating the output instead of the output itself. Because generative AI will be more and more important in generating that output. And
So
in
more
the
formative assignment.
more
Yeah.
formative, less summative assignments. That's
Mm.
the way forward, I think, for education, and and really stimulate students their creativity and their critical thinking and formulating the right questions to get a high quality output and being able to evaluate and assess that. So I think that's the way forward for education. I would say. And also, I would like to say, Professor Riri also talked about accessibility of
Yep.
Gen AI, and I see there and inclusivity. I see there two problems at the moment. One is the accessibility to the latest models. So if you want to work with ChatGPT 4.0, for example, you need to have a monthly subscription, which is maybe not affordable for every student or professional. So yeah, there's also, and the same holds for companies. So some tools are really expensive and can only be afforded by big corporations and not by small and medium-sized enterprises. So although generative AI has the potential to create a level playing field among industries, among countries in the world. I have another example about that in a sec. I don't see that the digital divide is really changing. We also recently did a study about the penetration of ChatGPT
Mhm.
in countries across the world. So see where comes the most traffic from for ChatGPT if you look to all countries in the world. And if you relate that to the population size, what comes out there is actually a picture where ChatGPT and also other generative AI tools are still a Western phenomenon. So it's North America, Europe, and some high-income countries in Asia, where ChatGPT and other tools are highly used as compared to the total population. Whereas in other parts of the world, like Africa, Latin America, and the more poorer parts of Asia, we see that they are lagging behind, which is, of course, interesting to discuss because a lot of the tools are free and accessible to everyone. You only need internet access. But
Mhm.
also, as we know, there's still large parts in the world where access to reliable internet is still an issue.
Mhm.
So even where generative AI has the potential to create a better level playing field and also to create more equality in the world, we do not yet see that happen based on our analysis from the Center for Market Insights here in Amsterdam.
All right. I think we ran out of time now for Jesse. I will now open the panel discussion also together with Professor Vivi. The first question that we have here is about human and AI collaboration. I think this is to both of you. How can we strike the right balance between human and AI collaboration in maximizing the strength of a human person and artificial intelligence? Can I first give the floor to Profiri and then yes, sir? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question. How we can really use the opportunity given by the presence of the artificial intelligence now to be able to collaborate in terms of, we know that it's AI is the product of human being. All over
Mm-hmm.
the world, we put on some more information, more and more information, knowing that they are connected, and it can summarize everything. It can grab information from everywhere, whereas human being in as a person can
Yes.
only have a limited, very limited knowledge and storage here that
Yep.
we take together. So yeah, I think we need to be able to um, use the opportunity, knowing that we have to be able to explore what is good in one person and what is the plus, uh, what we can really explore from the humanity. Well, now, yeah, like yesterday I tried to check, write a poem and then put it into Google Bard. And when I say, please evaluate and analyze this poetry, and put Indonesian poetry, and then
Indonesian language.
Indonesian, yeah. The
Wow.
problem is because because of the comment is in English, it creates something that is, like, it's already like a normal way of evaluating a poetry, and summarizing it per sentence and per paragraph. But when I ask, coba evaluasi dalam bahasa Indonesia, it said that, oh, I'm not be able to do that because I'm just a
Mhm.
large language model. So you can really tell that even it's the same thing, the machine is still a machine. Once they
Mm.
haven't done anything yet to do that, to revise or to make sure that it's producing the same thing, it will always be wrong. So that is the way forward. I think all human beings supposed to be able to know what is the limit of the machine, and then they can tell that they can do more on that, better than that. Yeah, because previously we learned about that in classes, how to criticize something. But well, the machine just copy whatever we do now, and Bird is just there a few days ago, but everyone, many people, many students already being using them. So it's like just like magic. Everyone is really changing, but to be able to maximize the use of AI, human being need to be one step ahead in knowing
Mm.
that, oh, this is that the machine has not this is the gap that should be filled in, and we can do something about that. Yeah, that's for me. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thanks a lot, Professor Riri. I will start with what you were ending with. So, what are the limitations of the machine? That's a question, and I don't have the answer for it yet, because when Gen AI started, a lot of people said, yeah, generative AI can never be creative like humans are, because it's just
Mhm.
reproducing what we have made. And I see that it's actually not the case. Gen AI has proven that it can create, has creativity on its own, can create images or text or innovative ideas that humans have not came up with yet. So I'm not sure where we're going to end in that respect. So when it comes to finding the balance between human and man, that's not sorted out yet. And I think we are going to see a lot more development on that in the near future, which we need to keep a close eye on. So that's one thing. Another thing that I see is a major threat to humanity is that the current models are all trained on human content. But
Mm.
the more we rely on content created by generative AI, the more the models will be trained on its own content. So where do we get new input if everybody is using the output that is coming from generative
Mm.
AI in the near future? What does it mean for us as humans, as being creative beings, being able to create? So yeah, if you become lazy and just use what the machine is providing us, what does it mean for us as humans? I think that's more of a philosophical question on which I don't have the answer yet. But I think that's a very important question, and we need to ask ourselves and keep a close eye on what AI can do, and also what we want that AI can do in our lives as humans.
All right. A little bit of a difference in the thought, I think. So yes, I say, well, yeah, I would be more creative in the future, but then what would be our role in the future? If AI can replace a lot of tasks that we can do, even they can also be creative. Professor Rivi, do you have a response for that?
Again, can you repeat, please?
So yes, says that AI can also be creative. I mean, we don't know the limitation of this artificial intelligence yet. I mean, in the past we say yeah, but it will never be creative. But now it makes pictures, sounds, music, usually the kind of things that a human person would create. But then, if this is then the case, what will be our role in the future?
I'm thinking about the way the computer scientists are now programming and developing large language model and all
Mhm.
generative AI. We give the opportunity for the intelligence to develop, in which it can eventually, as been expected by 2060 or even earlier, it can surpass the capacity of human intelligence, however, yeah, we know that we see music that has not been there, we see pictures or
Yes.
people faces that is not there in Dale,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
many things, yeah. And it's amazing, but uh, it's the way a machine is learning now, that is the way the machine learning algorithm are created. So I guess that is the product of human intelligence. So I'm not sure. I think
Mm.
it's also still the way all the, even Elon Musk and uh, Alan, Sam Altman, and other are still also very worried about that, and that
Yeah.
is why we don't
Yeah.
want that to be quickly as we never expect it will happen. This is going to be like, well, when we watch doomsday, on conspiracy and everything. Yeah, I'm also sometimes worried about what things is how things are going to be uh, going forward, because many of us are, like, now even Elon Musk created a startup for mining asteroid. This is something that beyond imagination, but it will create a lot of, yeah, a lot of chaos, I think, because then we don't have money, we don't have gold anymore as an exchange, and yeah, we have to think about it. This is all the homework for humanity, isn't it? I'm not sure, I'm sure about that, yeah.
But then this leads to our next question, I guess, perhaps as a closing question to both of you. Winner is about bridging collaborations between Indonesia and the Netherlands. And we spoke about a lot of homework that can or should be done by us, humanity as a collective. Starting with yes, what kind of potential research collaborations that we can establish between Indonesia and the Netherlands with regard to this development of generative AI? Do you see what kind of collaborations that we can do together?
Well, let me say that we're all learning here, all across the
Mm.
world,
Yes, yes, of course.
and because of that, we can and need to learn from each other's experiences.
Yeah.
Also, I do think that Gen AI can also help us to communicate better with people from different cultures and also learn to understand cultures better. And in that sense, it can also help us to collaborate in an even better way than we could think of before Gen AI between countries, for example, between Netherlands and Indonesia. So on the one hand, it opens new venues for collaboration. On the other hand, we are faced with the same challenges, and we can learn from each other in facing those challenges, I would say.
Rafiri?
Yes, I think um, we can learn from different person, different perspective quicker if we hear about from each other more. So
Mm.
when someone shout, we hear, and then we don't have to go to that hole again because it's already
Mm.
being there and it's being summarized, and we can quickly avoid things. But we know that since we enter the post-truth era,
Mm.
sometimes the information are filtered in a way that is not balanced, so that it's the media that we access because of the artificial intelligence selection, which we previously submitted that we are this kind of person on, and we would like to have to receive these kind of things. I think that is something that we have to remind everyone also, to be able to see things from wider as perspective, so that we have a different information, so we can also avoid the AI that is um, directing us towards one single information that eventually will make ourselves in a less strong position. So, yes, this is the era in which we have the opportunity to use the technology, but this is also the era in which we have to be able to use our gut feeling, whether we are on the right direction or not, whether we are following the our what's supposed to be done or not, whether we are going to be part of the large community that is contributing to the better world, or we are going to destroy the humanity in the end. So it's up to us, but also at the same time, all the educators around the world must be able to show this, from the beginning to all the students, knowing that they are human being which with a lot of thinking and a lot of value and moral value that they have to follow to be able to survive eventually, not only following what is the algorithm injected in the artificial intelligence are doing to direct them to know only a very limited information,
Mm.
and eventually it will put them in a less positive condition. I think we are going to do this together, and I'm very happy to know Hesse and all friends here today. And I'm sure that all the participants today also will learn that ChatGPT are very fruitful and very beneficial for our work, and we are using it. But also we have to be having an extra way of knowing that we have to combat the effect eventually in the future, that we don't learn too much and the machine is learning, but the human being must learning faster. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Closing statement from Jesse?
Well, it's hard to say something after this wonderful closing statement by Professor Riri, which I full-heartedly agree with. Yeah, I think this is really a learning phase and a very important learning phase we're in at the moment. And I think we are on a crossroads where if we make the wrong turn, might lose our humanity in the long run. or if we make the right turn, we can really use AI and generative AI to our benefit, improving the quality of our lives, and the quality of our planet, I would say. So I think it's important, and we have, as educators, we play a very important role in that. And we should play that and take that very seriously. And that's why I also would like to call out to all educators to really dive into the, the pros and cons of generative AI, and also start up the discussion with our
Yeah.
students, how this will impact our future jobs and also our lives.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Well, thank you also very much for the audience, for the participations, the questions. Thank you for the panelists, Professor Riri and Professor Jesse. And AI has been cursed or a blessing. We are now in the crossroads. There are lots of homework to be done. And then let's collaborate together to explore that we are on the right path. Thank you very much for your attention. The session is now closed. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye
Bye.
bye.